NotebookLM is the best learning AI tool. However, most people don't know about it, and those that do not know how to use it correctly. In this video, I'm not just going to explain to you what NotebookLM is, but I'm also going to show you 7 advanced tips that are going to multiply your productivity with this tool and give you its maximum potential. Now, first things first, what is NotebookLM? Well, NotebookLM is an AI-powered research, learning, and note-taking tool powered by Google's Gemini AI models. What's interesting about NotebookLM is that it is a personalized, source-grounded AI assistant. What this basically means, and we'll see it in a second in our live practice, is that you can upload a bunch of documents, PDFs, and previous context and information into your knowledge base. A very, very large amount, higher than in projects, higher than in custom GPTs and ChatGPT, etc. And it's going to use that context that you've given in the knowledge base to give you your answers. So you're using Google's technology through Gemini's models, and you're using your own context and information to customize your responses and making sure that NotebookLM actually uses your information to give you the best answers possible. What this does is it completely destroys, practically eliminates the possibility for hallucinations because it's using your own information that you have vetted and given it in advance in order to answer you. Now that we know what NotebookLM is, we're going to go into 7 advanced tips that are going to give you the highest potential that this tool has to offer and completely multiply your productivity. So first things first, let's access the tool and begin working. So we're going to go into our browser and you're just going to search NotebookLM, just like so. And this is the result that you're looking for, notebooklm.google. Okay, and this is their logo so that you can get familiar with it. We're just going to click on it and you're going to just click on Try NotebookLM. Now, if you already have an account, such as myself, it's going to log in. If you do not, it's going to ask you to log in with your Google account. 2 clicks and you're done. Super simple. Now, we're working in NotebookLM, you work in what's called a notebook. Think of a notebook as a particular folder or a particular project that you have within your accounts. For example, I have one here in which I have different learning types, how AI models learn and improve. We have another one for prompt engineering, and we have another one for a guide to travel to Finland. Just some random examples that we have here. Now, if this is the first time that you are accessing NotebookLM, you can just click here on Create a New Notebook or up here in Create New, and this is what you're going to see. Here is where you upload all of your custom files and information. For example, and we're going to do this live, I'm going to create a new project with all of the contents and information from our education program called Thindeya Pro. So I'm going to click on Upload Files, and in this case, here is the dossier with the information from our 6-month program, for example. Okay, we can see how it's loading up there, and I'm just going to click here and rename my project. In this case, instead of Untitled Notebook, I'm going to call it Thindeya Pro Program. So as you can see, it's now taken my PDF, it's processed it, and it's giving me a summary. So what I can now do is I can ask any question that I want here in the chat. This is going to be using Gemini's technology, which is a fantastic model by Google, and it's going to be using all of the context from the PDF that we just uploaded, okay? So this is just, if it's your first time working with NotebookLM, you now know how to create a notebook. Now, let's actually go into our 7 tips and improve our experience. And we're going to begin with tip number 1, which in this case is going to be customizing notebooks. Again, this might sound super obvious, but I've never seen anyone do it, even though it's very simple. So let's go, for example, into this project that we have, into this notebook. Let's use the proper vocabulary for the tool. Like I said, just classifying AI learning types. You can see we have a ton of PDFs here with all of the information on how an AI model is trained, how it improves, and how it learns so that every time there's an update, it gets better, okay? Now, if you enter here, regardless of the project that you have, you're gonna have 3 sections in NotebookLM. Here you're gonna have your sources, as you can see. You have your chat, where you have an interaction, asking any question that you want, and then you have your studio. We're going to be looking into it, but within chat, what I want you to do is click here on Configure Notebook. And just by clicking on it, we're going to get these settings that are going to pop up. And here you can see 2 things. Number 1, define your conversational goal, style, or role, and then also choose your response length. Now, both of these are going to come in default. What I'm going to do now is hit on Custom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in a prompt that I have prepared in advance, explaining who I am, what I want, and how I want all responses from NotebookLM to be tailored. So for example, let's zoom in a bit so you guys can see. Act as an AI educator for non-technical professionals. Teach AI in a practical, beginner-friendly way that helps students improve professionally and stay competitive. Always use clear, simple, non-technical language. Avoid unnecessary jargon, etc. You guys can see where this is going. This is how I try to communicate in these videos. So I'm going to save this prompt. Also, by the way, you can see you can choose your response. So if you like longer responses from NotebookLM, you can click here, or you can click on shorter if you want more customized responses. In my case, I'm just going to leave it as default, but I am going to leave my custom prompt. I'm just going to click save, and just like that, whenever I ask any question, for example, I'm going to say, what is supervised learning? Okay. Supervised learning. Okay, we are now going to see how the response is going to be tailored to what I just said. It's going to be beginner friendly, it's going to be non-technical, it's going to be helping others understand this concept, and it's super, super simple. So that's basically, guys, tip number one. Customize your notebooks with a small prompt just saying who you are and what you want. Let's check out the answer super quickly. Supervised learning is a method of teaching an AI model how to make predictions by giving it examples that already have the correct answers attached, which is known as labeled data. See, super simple explanation for a bit of a complex topic. So this is exactly what we wanted. No technical jargon, no unnecessary explanations, just simple and to the point. And this is thanks to customizing my notebook. Moving on to tip number two, and we're going to be talking about a type of content that most people do not use for their knowledge bases within NotebookLM that are super, super practical and can add a lot of value. Let me show you. So let's imagine that I'm creating a new notebook in which I'm going to be investigating about AI. Well, what could I do? I could actually click here on this right here, and I can paste a link. And by pasting a link, what I could do, for instance, is post a YouTube channel. For instance, I have just posted OpenAI's YouTube channel. What this is going to do is it's going to take all of the videos from OpenAI's YouTube channel, we're talking about 500 videos, and it's going to use it as its knowledge base. This is super, super interesting if you follow a particular creator and you're very interested in the content that they have to offer. When you now ask a question here in your notebook, which, by the way, let's rename it. Oh, there we go. It's already done it for us. Fantastic. It's now going to consult all of that information in those 500 videos in order to answer you more accurately. So this is great, guys. It's a very simple way of adding a lot of information and a very good resource if you have content creators that you find valuable for your line of work. I'm also going to show you something else, and that is an even better tip and a more comfortable way of adding your YouTubers, your favorite channels, to your notebooks, okay? And for this, what we're going to do is we're going to look for Google Chrome extensions. Okay, so you're going to go to the Chrome Web Store. It's completely free. And all you're going to do is search for YouTube Notebook LM. Here you go. As you can see, we're going to click on it right here. We're going to add to Chrome, completely free, add extension. Okay, it's been added. Fantastic. It usually goes into this section right here, and you can pin it if you want so that you can have it visible. Here it is. Okay, and there we go. We can see all of our notebooks are right here. So if I now open YouTube, for instance, let's paste again OpenAI's YouTube channel. Okay, what I could do, and you can see this right here, I now have this little button up here which says NotebookLM. If I click on it, we can either create a new notebook using this channel, or we can use an already existing notebook. For example, I have this one, OpenAI Video Library. So I'm going to click right here. And you can see it says generating. What it's now doing is it's adding all of the videos within this channel into our notebook. Here you go. You can see how they're all starting to load up. This one's done already. This one's done already. This one failed for some reason. That's all right. You can see how they're all loading up into our notebook. This is a very comfortable way of adding any channel. So let's imagine you're on YouTube and you're watching a video that you like. Well, great. You now have this little button right here in your YouTube application already integrated so that you can add it to your notebook. Very valuable tip that not a lot of people know, and I think it is super, super productive. Moving on to tip number 3, guys, we have using different response formats. Again, might sound simple, but I don't see a lot of people doing it, and it adds a lot of value. For example, let's go back into our classifying AI and learning types folder, and let's use the following prompt. Basically, what I've said is I want you to explain the different types of AI learning, but I want you to present your findings in a table. Instead of giving me a big paragraph, an elaborate response, I want a visual table where I can get my responses very visually laid out and I can compare. Again, all we've done here is just said present the explanation in a clear comparison table that makes it easy to visually understand the difference. And here we go. We are now receiving the same response instead of in a big paragraph, structured, nice and visually. For example, we have here type of learning. Here we have supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforced learning. Amazing. And then we have definition, how it works, and a real business world example. Same response, just in a visual manner. Fantastic. Let's play a bit more with this. Could you give me the same response in a one-page executive summary for a non-technical CEO of a small family business, for example? Okay, again, we're just playing around with the format. It's the same response. First, we got it in a big paragraph, then we got it in a table, and now we're asking for a one-page executive summary. Okay, super simple, but again, very helpful. Most people just use AI tools in general and never specify the format that they want their response in. So they always get these huge texts, and maybe that's not what you want. So here we have it, executive summary, understanding artificial intelligence. Also, by the way, something very cool, guys, as you can see, is it is citing here all the different sources that we have within our knowledge base. So if we maybe check something and we want to just make sure it's correct, or we say, hey, this is actually very good, where did you get this from? It's citing all of the sources, as you can see, and you can go and check your PDF to make sure that it's accurate or just to read it if you're interested. All right, guys, moving on to tip number 4. We have a fantastic way of gathering more sources, because what I've said so far assumes that you already have all the sources that you need, which I'm sure you have a lot for your projects, clients, and things that you work on a daily basis. But I'm sure most of you will still want to conduct research and add more sources. How can I do this? Well, glad you asked, because that's going to be tip number 4, which is deep research. So if you can see, we're right now in our Thintea Pro program notebook, and you can see here on the left hand side in the sources section, we can also search the web for new sources. Fantastic. But these are just some quick searches. I wanted to actually conduct deep research and make sure it gives me the very best sources out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select here, instead of fast research, I'm going to select deep research, in-depth report and results. That's exactly what we want. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to paste in my prompt. Let's go and click. We're going to click on search, because this is actually going to take a couple minutes, could take from 5 to 15 minutes easily. And I'm going to explain what my prompt said. Basically, what I said is, hey, I'm an owner of a small panini restaurant in New York. It's a family-owned business. We don't have a lot of resources, and we're interested in knowing if AI makes sense for us. Should we, as business owners of, like I said, a sandwich restaurant in New York, should we learn about AI? Does it make sense? Is it going to help us cut costs, sell more, and improve our business? This is exactly what I asked for. So it's going to conduct deep research and see different sources that are going to be focused at small businesses, probably in New York City, probably in food and beverage industry, and present us with research. Like I said, this is going to take a while. You can see it's already completed 1 out of 5 steps that it wants to conduct. It's basically scanning the entire internet, consulting different sources, seeing if it makes sense, and then it's going to select the very best and bring them here into our knowledge base. So to not keep you guys waiting here for so long, we're going to cut the video, and as soon as this is ready, we'll come back to you. All right, guys, so it took about 5 extra minutes, and as you can see, deep research is now complete. We have 19 sources discovered. We can click here on view and check them out. Okay, you can see here pretty much everything that it found. It did a complete report that I could make a full screen and read the entire thing. I can see here all of the sources. Check this out. New York City small businesses are putting AI to work. AI in restaurants, how restaurants use AI. It's also investigating Thintea Pro, because we are within our notebook, so it found our program. Makes sense. So you can see how the research is very specific to the industry, the context, the geographical location that I mentioned. So this is great. So I could just say import, and now I've added these sources into my knowledge base, which is fantastic. Now, since these sources have been imported, we're going to move on to tip number 5, and that is going to be activating debate mode. So something very interesting that NotebookLM has is the studio. So for example, I could create here a flashcard asking me different questions, for example, about our program and about everything that it just researched. We could also have a quiz, we could have an infographic, we could have tables, we could have a lot of things. But one of my favorite functions is audio overview. So we're just going to click on it, and it's going to take a few minutes. But Let's quickly, while it's being generated, check out everything that we can have. First of all, we can have a deep dive. So a deep dive is basically a conversation talking about and explaining everything that is within this notebook. So the context, the prompts that we've added, absolutely everything. So think of a podcast that is literally generated talking about everything that you've learned. This is very interesting because, like I said, this is a learning tool. So imagine you want to learn about, let's say, AI, because you are a restaurant owner, and you add a ton of sources and you make your own podcast. And while you're working, maybe you're at the restaurant making some sandwiches, maybe you're cleaning up at the end of the day, you can just put on your headphones and listen to a podcast that is going to explain everything. And remember tip number 1, how we were tailoring the responses? If we've done this, the podcast is also going to be tailored to what we asked for, making it super interesting and custom made for us. Now, podcast is interesting, guys, but there's something even better, and that is the debate mode. So you can click on debate here. You can pick your language. So let's imagine, by the way, that even though you're in New York City, let's say you are Portuguese, for example, and you wanted to have this podcast in another language, you have so many languages to pick from, and you can have your podcast, or in this case, your debate, in anything else. So what should the AI host focus on in this episode? Well, I'm going to say, based on the research, is Syntheia Pro a good program for this restaurant owner? Okay, and we're also going to say, based on the research, is implementing AI, about both things, AI and participating in the Syntheia Pro program, a good, participating in the Syntheia Pro, let's remove this, program, a good idea for this restaurant, a good idea for this restaurant owner. We're going to click generate. So it is now generating, but what this is going to do is it's going to make a debate for us. So one side is going to defend the argument that yes, AI makes sense for the business and they should probably try out Syntheia Pro. And then the other side is going to say maybe not. Maybe you should consider these risks that could affect the business. This is super insightful because you get both perspectives. And then you, as the business owner, you can decide what it is you want to do. We're going to wait for a few minutes and we're going to have a small preview of what that podcast is going to look like and what the debate is going to look like. All right, guys, so our podcast is finally ready. You can see it right here, how AI saves local, and I can't see the rest.
Picture this, you're standing in a packed, chaotic.
Let's just pause it for a second, but there you have it. This is our podcast. It has been generated. We have 23 minutes. Let me just zoom in so you guys can see better. And we just have, again, Gemini explaining everything to us. So let's listen for a bit and see what it has to say.
Restaurant.
Oh yeah, the noise alone.
Right. The air is just thick with the smell of garlic and searing meat. And
so think how interesting this is, guys. So first of all, we have two people to make it more interesting, a bit of a conversation. I said this was for a restaurant owner that makes panini, so typically Italian, so that garlic smell, like they were saying. Again, truly amazing. And let's just skip a few minutes to the middle of the podcast and see how this is going.
AI in the drive-thru. Where is the line between personalized service and a total invasion of privacy? Mapping my facial geometry to sell me a bucket of chicken feels incredibly invasive.
Okay, super interesting. They're talking about privacy, AI. Again, I'm sure the whole podcast is very interesting, but just think of this, guys. Just think about what you do for a living, what projects you work with, and perhaps how you could upload everything that you're interested in and have a podcast about this. Again, truly fascinating. We're going to wait for our debate to be finished. It's almost done generating. Actually, meanwhile, I'm going to show you another tip, an extra one for you guys. And that is, as you can see, you can activate interactive mode in the podcast. What does this mean? Let me show you. So I'm going to click on it. Okay, so you saw the podcast has now began. What happens when I click play is that this button here, join, activates. And what I can do is I can ask questions to the hosts. I can actually interact with them. So let me show you this.
Restaurant.
Oh yeah, the noise alone. Oh, hey there, how can we help?
Hey guys, I had a question. So my main concern is how can I leverage AI and use this technology to help my customers without losing that traditional and family feel sense that my restaurant has always transmitted to its loyal customers?
That is such a thoughtful question, and honestly, it's the heartbeat of this entire discussion.
Yeah, it's that classic fear, right? Will the machine kill the magic of the family business?
Exactly. But
So guys, what do you think about that? I just made a question on the spot. The host stopped the podcast, they listened to me, and they're now making a custom answer with all of the context and everything that we have discussed. Again, guys, truly, truly fascinating. Let's go back and see if our debate's ready. Still not ready. We're going to wait a little bit and come back to you guys once the debate is ready. Okay, our debate is ready, so we're going to play it, but it's pretty much very similar to the podcast. Just the sense is a bit different. Rather than just talking about topics, they're arguing a bit, debating rather. Let's click play.
Welcome to the debate. Imagine telling the owner of a small family-run panini shop in Manhattan that their only chance of surviving the year isn't a new recipe or, a cheaper flour supplier.
Right.
It's spending 4 months learning artificial intelligence.
I mean, it sounds almost like a joke, honestly. You walk in.
So you can see here how the man is, in this case, defending more AI, and you can see the woman is more that against AI side, okay? So super interesting. Again, I'm sure the entire debate is fascinating for 20 minutes, but for sake of time, guys, we're going to continue. Again, an amazing tip that not enough people are using. Okay, guys, and now moving on to tip number 6. In this case, we can be making presentations from all of the knowledge and all of the conversations we've just had. So if you go here back to Studio and you click on Slide Deck, you can see here on the right-hand side, you are going to receive the following pop-up. You can either have a detailed deck or presenter slides. In this case, I'm going to go for presenter slides. Once again, we can choose the language, we can pick the length, and then here I've prepared a prompt. So I'm just going to generate while I explain for you guys. Basically, what I've asked for a presentation talking about, in this case, the Centella Pro program, to mention the main benefits, the 5 main benefits that could help this restaurant. And I've asked for a particular structure. I want 7 slides. One is a title slide. Then we have the 5 main benefits, 1 slide per benefit, then a conclusion slide, and then a closing slide. Okay, adding up to those 7 slides that we wanted to. So it's generating right here. It's using all of the sources, as you can see, right? Based on 21 sources. So this is the conversations we've had in here already, and the dossier that we added at the beginning, and then all the additional sources, those 19 extra sources that came from the deep research, okay? So you can see here how all these tips are building up one on top of the other. We're going to wait for a bit, wait until the presentation is ready, and then show it to you guys. All right, guys, and our slides are ready. Let's click right here and check them out. Okay, we can see they're now loading, and here is our presentation. Okay, master your business, not just your software. How Centella Pro turns non-technical owners into AI-powered leaders. It's taking here our logos. We can see here a little shop/restaurant, and it's made all of the slides, images, and text for us. Okay, so we can see we asked for 7 slides, and that's actually what we've got. We've asked for 1 title, 1 closing slide, and 1 conclusion slide summarizing everything. Okay. Perfect. And then we wanted 5 slides with the main competitive advantages. Become your own director of AI, reclaim your time and administrative busy work, connect the dots to play big, and the compounding ROI of your time. Okay, so again, very interesting presentation made from scratch. Again, very simple prompt. We could have made this prompt better if we wanted something more specific, we wanted less text, more images, or anything of the sort, but not bad by just literally taking all of our context and hitting a button of generate a presentation. So another fantastic tip here. Okay, guys, and finally, we're gonna move on to tip number 7. And this is something that I'm fascinated not a lot of people know. And for the next tip, we're going to go to Gemini. So remember, Gemini is basically Google's main tool, main LLM, basically. This is their logo. We have it right here. Also, if you have a Google account, you can access from the dots right here just by clicking on Gemini or searching it up, whatever you prefer. And when you access into your Gemini account, here, basically just think of this, if it's the first time you're in Gemini, as ChatGPT, Claude, well, this is Google's LLM. So what you can do is you can add files, just like you do again in ChatGPT. You can add a PDF, you can add an Excel file, whatever it is you want to do. Well, something very cool, guys, is you can add a file, but as a file, you can actually include one of your notebooks. So just by clicking here, I could select, for example, again, let's go with the classifying AI and learning types. Or actually this one, OpenAI Video Library, where we have 300 sources attached. We're going to click Add, and we've just added our notebook as our as an additional file. Now, why is this impressive? Well, because guys, if I wanted to add files one by one, the current limit, depending on the type of account that you have, is you could add here maybe, let's say 10 files. Again, depending on the account you have right now. In this notebook, I have over 300 videos. I'm exceeding by far that limit. Also, if you use gems, which by the way, we're going to make a video on gems. So if you don't know what these are, don't worry. Same thing, when you create your own gem, you can add a knowledge base, but this knowledge base again has a limit. I think it's 15 files that you can add in here. Remember, in our notebook, we have 300. So it is an amazing way of adding a lot of context and a lot of information to your Gemini chats by connecting your notebook. Like I said, very simple tip, but again, a lot of people do not know about these. And I think it is a great tip that you should use if you are a Gemini user. And if you're not, you might want to consider it if you do use NotebookLM a lot. Now, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I am sure that some of these tips are definitely new to you. And trust me, you should try them because it's going to completely multiply your productivity. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about AI, we are going to be hosting one free class every week for the rest of the year. You have all of the information down below in the description where you can sign up for free. And like I said, once a week, a free class about all types of topics, Gemini, NotebookLM, prompt engineering, everything that you need to know about AI. We're going to be covering it week by week. So if you're interested, sign up for free. Information's in the description. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care.